Alright, so we're potentially live. I need to keep fucking... Yes, we're good. Okay, so, this is going to be a kind of introduction to the world of the Old Lands, which is the name of the world and potentially the name of my custom RPG system. And the Old Lands is essentially where this is going to be set. It's a continent that's sort of now dead, and the society is trying to rebuild it, but there's also sort of more chaotic forces. So this is just going to be 10 facts about the Old Lands, which is what I tend to do when world building, because it sort of lets me kind of figure out where the world is going. And once you've got kind of 10 key facts down, I find that the rest of the world, you can just fit into those facts and make life super easy. Plus, if you're just coming to the world and you want to basically get the elevator pitch, you can read through 10 facts in 2 minutes and already be like, okay, I want to play in this world. So, fact number 1. The Old Lands are dead. It was once a continent of thriving culture and power, but now they are a shadow of what they were, a husk of its former self, as I put. Anarchy and chaos are kind of two key sort of factors, and what's more, it's the fault of the people. Now I'm just gonna... Yeah, audio is golden. Just had to double check. Probably should have done that beforehand, but that would be too professional. So, fact number 2. There were 4 dominions here before, but now they are all dead. There's these 4 kingdoms, and the land was divided. They were kind of constantly warring and fighting amongst themselves. And here is the kind of start of the key part of the world, which is they brought the ruin and they paid their own price. So immediately, you know, what happened, the ruin, what was it? Well, that is kind of explored later on in the fact, so I won't go into it now. But before the ruin, this is fact number 3, before the ruin, the gods ruled on high. As the ruin tore through the world, churches crumbled, priests fled, and now the gods are either dead, asleep, or just gone. However, as civilization attempts to rebuild itself, holy whispers can be heard by a certain few. Some people think they're hearing the gods, but are they liars, or as most people think they are, or is there something to it, or is it something other than the gods trying to trick them? And that's, I guess, up to the GM who's running it. The ruin killed the world, and we birthed the ruin. Now, when I refer to we, obviously I don't mean myself. Well, I guess I did, because I invented it. But I refer to the people of the world. And no one knows exactly what it was, but the sun darkened, the snows came thicker, it rained more, the ocean swelled, monsters rose from the earth, and trees cracked city walls. The ruin was the land itself fighting back against the industrialization and fickle kind of dangerousness of the races of man. The ruin hunted magic, fact number 5, and now it is rare. So it seemed that during the ruin, anyone who could perform magic was going missing or just being killed. There would be monsters that would just rampage into a city, destroy all the mages, and then just die or leave. Ships carrying wizards sank almost 100% of the time. Bad weather, rain, clouds, storms used to would follow magic wherever it went. The remnants of society are superstitious. Magic is no longer hunted by monsters, and the bad weather doesn't follow it anymore, but people still remember what happened, and so magic is shunned. Some people can do it, but they are shunned and brutally kind of beaten, sent away. They lose privileges, that kind of thing. So back to the Four Dominions then. They were in constant war. They would do anything to get ahead, and so this kind of rapid, sort of dangerous expansion caused the ruin. So the four kingdoms were Angris in the north, Vardum in the east, Threkiot in the west, and Thurum, which is kind of, if you think of the first three as a sort of triangle, Thurum's here, kind of is the southernmost city, but not really in the south of the old lands. The south is just this wild, untamed land where people generally steer clear of, and even still was in those days. There's 4 races as well, and they now scattered. They're now kind of scattered, and they don't live anywhere specific. They once lived in their own territories. The men, dwarves, elves, and beasts. Beasts refers to like orcs and that kind of thing. And each has 2 sub-races, which is the playable characters in the game. And their structures and architecture kind of lie scattered across the ruin of the land. Racial brotherhood, patriotism, all that is forgotten. Everyone is just fighting for themselves now. However, fact 8, there are small civilizations now reclaiming the land. Villages and towns, even a city has sprung up in the vacuum of the old lands. They're still small and fledgling, but hope is not dead, and people are trying to rebuild and kind of come back after the horror that was the ruin. Fact 9, a group known as the Black Haunt are attempting to oversee the restoration of the old lands back to its strength. They reside in Hallowhold, which is a kind of fortress in the north, and they're seen as sinister and evil by everyone. I mean, they didn't give themselves the name kind of came about, and they're this kind of shadow organization that everyone thinks is out to get them and kill them. They're sort of the boogeyman, but in fact, they're attempting to rebuild the old lands. They hunt the monsters, and they kill and assassinate kind of problem people who are sort of stifling the growth. So they're a force for good, though the methods may be questionable, and they are highly demonized. And finally, echoes of the ruin can be felt throughout the old lands. When you're in a quiet, dark place alone, you may see this kind of golden floating vision, and an imprint of the moment someone in the area that you are passed into death during the ruin. So you can be walking around in the dark or whatever, and then you suddenly come across this vision of someone dying. Maybe they're getting smashed by a troll, maybe they're just ill and, die in their sleep, whatever. But you can see these visions walking around and know that death kind of surrounds everything in the old lands. The whole world is centered and kind of focused on death. So that was the 10 facts. I hope you like it. I think this is a really cool world, and I can't wait for the game to be finished to a point where I can begin playtesting and actually start running some games in this world. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you've learned something, and let me know what you think. Let me know any cool ideas you may have in the comments, and yeah, happy gaming.